Hello friends, myself Dr. Nidhi Darbari on My Education Treasure, and today I am going to explain about education and educational philosophy, objectives, scope and functions. Education has been described as a process of waking up to life and its mysteries, its solvable problems, and the ways to solve the problem and celebrate the mysteries of life. Waking up to the interdependencies of all things, to the threat to our global village, to the power within the human race to create alternatives to the obstacles entrenched in economics, social, and political structure that prevent our waking up. The scope of education is meant to help people deal with various challenges that they come across in life. It can be explained by its various processes. Education as direction. Educate a child means directing the child in the proper direction. The young learners have innate powers, attitudes, interests, and instincts. It is the essential function of education to direct those inborn instincts and power properly in socially acceptable and desirable channel. Education by accretion or storage. According to this view, education is the process of gradually filling up the empty mind of the child with grains of knowledge. The teacher's mind and the books are the storehouses of mental granary of the child. This is called the Gross-Sack theory. The theory is narrow and unsound. It regards knowledge as information of facts and statements to be condensed into compact and logical forms and memorized by the pupil. Education as mental discipline. The theory of mental discipline is traditional concept of education. According to this theory, the process of learning is more important than the thing learned. This theory is based upon the traditional faculty theory of psychology, according to which the mind is divided into a good number of separate faculties such as memory, attention, reasoning, imagination, perception, thinking, etc. Education as growth and development. It is a modern concept of education. Change is the law of nature. Man undergoes changes and transformation from cradle to grave. These changes may be of different types such as physical, mental, moral, and emotional. Whenever there is change, there is growth. Though change, a living organism can take entirely a new shape, and this again gives her power to grow. Thus, growing is education, and getting education is growing. Education as preparation. Education as preparation is a process of preparation or getting ready for the responsibilities and privileges of adult life. Preparation for complete living. This theory is the outcome of modern scientific tendency in education. Education as social change and progress. A society is composed of individuals, and when the ideas of individuals change, the society is bound to change. Change is the law of human life and society. The function of education is to maintain this progressive trend. Education as formation of mind. Education as formation tries to form the mind by a proper presentation of materials. It is formation of mind by getting up certain associations or connections of content by means of subject matter. Education as a process of socialization. After birth, the child becomes a member of the society, and the process of socialization begins then. Then the formal education of the child begins. Beside formal education, the child continues to learn and gather experiences in informal or incidental way. The process of socialization starts in family environment, and then the educational institution takes the responsibility of such process. Education as adjustment and self-activity. Adjustment is essential to an individual for self-development. Education gives an individual the power of adjustment in an efficient manner. Through education, the child learns to adjust with the environment. Adjustment requires self-activity. Education is nothing but adjustment through self-activity. Objectives of studying educational philosophy. Philosophy deals with the most basic issues faced by human beings. The content of philosophy is better seen as asking questions rather than providing answers. It can even be said that philosophy is the study of questions to find out the solution for various educational issues. The purpose of studying educational philosophy is to make education according to the needs based life and society, to determine the aim of human life or aim of survival, to produce better citizens by fostering democratic attitude in behavior, to make teaching learning process more effective and attractive according to the need, interest and ability of the child, to discern the different philosophies and choose any one of them to lead a fruitful life in the society, to expand our knowledge and experiences and implement them in the educational practices, to bring out all-round personality development in child and prepare him to stand on his own feet, to make education flexible in order to achieve the goals of our country, national integration, international understanding and globalization, to develop education as a powerful instrument to bring about social, cultural, political and economical change in society. Scope of educational philosophy. The scope of educational philosophy is the study of all those aspects or schools of philosophy which are important from the educational point of view. Thus, it is philosophy in the field of education. The scope of philosophy education is concerned with the problems of education. These problems mainly include interpretation of human nature, the world and the universe and their relation with man, interpretation of aims and ideals of education, the relationship of various components of the system of education, relationship of educational and various areas of national life, economic system, political order, social progress, cultural reconstruction, educational values, theory of knowledge and its relationship to education. The above mentioned problems constitute the scope of philosophy of education and explains its nature. Thus, the scope of philosophy of education includes following: aims and ideals of education philosophy. Education critically evaluates the different aims and ideals of education. These aims and ideals have been propagated by various philosophers in different times. They are character building, man making, harmonious human development, preparation for adult life, development of citizenship, utilization of leisure, training for civic life, training for international living, achieving social and national integration, scientific and technological development, education for all, equalizing educational opportunities, strengthening democratic political order and human source development. These and other aims of education presented by educational thinkers in different times and climes are scrutinized and evaluated. An educator is helpless in arriving at the aims of education if he or she lacks the knowledge of related circumstances and problems. Thus, the philosophy of education critically evaluates different aims and ideals of education to arrive at interpretation of human nature. A philosophical picture of human nature is a result of the synthesis of the facts borrowed from all the human sciences with the values discussed in different normative sciences. The philosophical picture, therefore, is broader as compared to the picture of man drawn by biology, sociology, psychology, economics, anthropology, and other human sciences. Educational values. Value is typically a philosophical subject since it is more abstract, integral, and universal. Philosophy of education not only critically evaluates the values but also systematizes them in a hierarchy. The educational values are determined by philosophical values. Educational values propagated by different philosophers have been derived from their own world view and their outlook on the purpose of human life. Therefore, a scrutiny of the world views, outlooks, beliefs is the specific function of philosophy and it is necessary for the philosophical treatment of the values. Theory of knowledge. Education is related to knowledge. It is determined by the source, limits, criteria, and means of knowledge. The discussion of all these falls within the jurisdiction of epistemology, one of the branches of philosophy, therefore, an important area of the functioning of philosophy of education is related to theory of knowledge. Relationship of education and various area of national life and various components of the system of education. One of the most important contribution of the philosophy of education to the cause of education is the provision of criteria for deciding the relationship of state and education, economic system and education, curriculum, school organization and management, discipline, teacher-pupil relationship, methods of teaching, textbook, etc. These problems have led to the evaluation of different philosophies of education. The criteria of judgment everywhere are determined by philosophy. Therefore, philosophy of education provides the criteria for critical evaluation and judgment in these fields. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to the video to motivate me, share it for others and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. Functions of educational philosophy. Philosophy of education performs various functions. These are discussed below. Determining the aspect of education. Aims of education. Philosophy of education provides original ideas regarding all aspects of education, particularly educational aims, methods of teaching, curriculum, teacher, students, etc. It is said that educational philosophy gives different views, but this situation is not harmful. Rather, it helps in providing education according to the needs of society. The difference in opinion of philosophy of education reflects the multiplicity and diversities of human life. Philosophy of education guides the process of education by suggesting suitable aims from the diversities of life and selecting the means accordingly. Curriculum. With the help of educational philosophy, a teacher comes to know why naturalism gives emphasis to science subjects and why idealism gives importance to religious subjects. Thus, it helps curriculum designer to construct curriculum according to the needs, ability, and interest of the child. Methods of teaching. Educational philosophy is very much helpful to adopt suitable methods of teaching and make classroom teaching more effective and attractive. We get the knowledge of different methods of teaching, that is learning by doing in naturalism, lecture method in idealism and experimental method in pragmatism. With the help of educational philosophy, we are able to teach the suitable methods of teaching according to the nature of the subject and school environment. Discipline. Concept of discipline changes with the changes in the outlook of life. In other words, discipline reflects the philosophy of life Idealism advocates strict discipline and self control, whereas naturalism emphasizes freedom and natural discipline, and pragmatism stressed social discipline. These disciplines are known from the study of different educational philosophies. Hence, the knowledge of educational philosophy is essential to follow a desirable discipline. Administration. The knowledge of what kind of school administration we should adopt is determined by educational philosophy. Educational philosophy helps to establish a school in democratic or totalitarian system. Nowadays, we are following democratic principle for administering the educational institutions. This is based on educational philosophy. Teacher and student. It is the educational philosophy which determines the role and quality of teachers as well as the student in diversified society. With the help of educational philosophy, we get knowledge pertaining to the role of the teacher as well as students in the school and relationship with each other. Students get secondary importance in idealism, whereas they get primary importance in naturalism. Similarly, there is a close relationship between the teacher and students in pragmatism and idealism, whereas it is limited in naturalism. Harmonizing old and new traditions in the field of education. In the process of social development, the old traditions become outdated for the people. They are replaced by new traditions. But the process of replacement is not always smooth. It is faced with lots of opposition from certain orthodox sections of the society. At the same time, it must be kept in mind that every old is not outdated and every new is not perfect. Therefore, there is need of coordinating the two in order to maintain the harmony between both. This function can be performed by philosophy of education, example, the crisis of Indian culture, Indian and Anglican, that is East and West. It tells us how the cultural tradition of the country is to be maintained. Providing the educational planners, administrators, and educators with the progressive vision to achieve educational development. Spencer has rightly pointed out that only a true philosopher can give a practical shape to education. Philosophy of education provides the educational planners, administrators, and educators with the right vision which guides them to attain the educational goals efficiently. It is very much useful to educational practitioners for his work and its place in the general scheme of life. Educational philosophy helps teachers, administrators, or students to interpret his professional experiences with that of acquired theoretical knowledge and vice versa. The function of educational philosophy is to help the individual to fit the square peg in the square hole and round knot in the round hole. It helps him to grasp a conceptual framework on educational principles and practices. It further helps one to change or modify one's activities to attain desired end or goal. Preparing the young generation to face the challenges of the modern times. Society is not static. It changes its values, traditions, custom, culture, etc. from time to time. Social commentators have given many labels to the present period of history. For some, it is the information age, and for others, it is post modernity, later modernity, high modernity, or even the age of uncertainty. One more addition to this list may be that the present age is an age of globalization, a phenomena arriving on the economic scene in the 1990s in India. This watchword has had its implication in the social, political, economic fabric of the country of which education is a part. Philosophy of education is a guiding steering and liberating force that helps young people to and society at large to face the challenges of modern time. It helps the individual to understand the relationship between his goal and day to day routine work and develop critical attitude towards life in diverse society. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video and don't forget to subscribe.